Furthermore, authority oversight is putting pressure on the SEC once again on their previous leadership in the Bitcoin industry. This pressure is being exerted on the SEC. There have been times in the past when we have talked about the issues of communications and conflicts of interest in connection to specific persons, such as Jay Clayton, who was formerly the chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Brad Garlinghouse provides some perspective on the present status in the SEC vs. Ripple case in this piece. He also outlines how we might be able to at the end of the road, and we will take a quick listen to the interview that he had at the end of the road. Furthermore, tomorrow first thing as early as possible, we have another meeting in the house that will stream here live. I'll converse with you about what that is and the way in which you can tune in on the feed. However, in the event that we haven't met before my name straight to the point show, I'm here to assist you with carrying on with a richer live on this channel. We discuss digital money, individual accounting and financial planning. In the event that you haven't hit that buy-in button, do it now. That way I can keep you educated regarding all the most recent news and updates now. Taking a short check at the market is something we should do before we leap in. With Bitcoin back above 70,000 XRP at approximately 52.5 cents, we are up almost 2% on the 24-hour chart, which is currently at 2.61 trillion. Other leading cryptocurrencies have remained mostly unchanged or within a range of plus to minus 1% over the course of the past 24 hours. First things first, let's have a look at the hearing that is scheduled to take place tomorrow so that I can bring it by here. If it is not a problem with you, I will include a link to it in the video description that is displayed on the live tab of the channel website. Hearing about the tokenization of assets that are already in existence in the real world, this is going to be in the House Financial Services Committee, and if you go there, make sure you hit that notify button so that you don't miss out on it. Additionally, I have included links to the documentation in the video description, as I always do. I won't go through it in full here, because first, I will hear more in detail on that stream tomorrow, and second, as I typically do at the beginning of those streams, I will run through this very quickly in the morning. This is a little preamble to what is happening in the hearing itself. If you wanted to see the actual document that goes into detail about who is speaking, what their background is, and how they will be talking about tokenization of real-world assets and use cases, then you can see that there. I won't go through it just because I won't go through it in its entirety here. That is something that will be discussed in greater depth the next morning. However, you should make sure that Brad Garlinghouse gives a brief interview to CNBC earlier this week. The interview took place when he was at the Consensus, and there is a small clip available online. It was my intention to share with you. It was his perspective on the event that we're taking on. Considering the Securities and Exchange Commission SE and the Ripple case in particular, the footage is only about a minute long, but it is a good clip to listen in on, so I will just play it here for us in a very short amount of time. When XRP was used in retail settings, it did not function as a token, so when it came to institutions, the situation was somewhat different. What are the current circumstances? That case right now. So right now what the courts have decided and what the judge has said very clearly is that XRP in and of itself is not a security that is everything to us. And it is truly right. Nevertheless, this is the most important point, the most important thing to take away from the entire case. And we have discussed it numerous times. He is going to discuss the circumstances that constitute a security in the case, which is something that we are somewhat familiar with due to the fact that we have been through it a sufficient amount of times. In addition to that, he is going to discuss the ways in which it will have an effect on the future. You should realize that these are technologies that ought to be given the opportunity to flourish and develop. My perspective is that it is once again the unstoppable advance of those technologies. Although XRP is not a security in and of itself, the manner in which it was packaged and sold makes it a security. Regardless of the kind of asset, this is always the case. We reflect on the manner in which we conduct our test in orange groves. To put it another way, orange is not a classified security. Although we have the idea that the matter between Ripple and the SEC has been concluded, the majority of the decisions have been in Ripple's favor. This is the case to a considerable extent. There is a single instance in which the judge reached a decision about an institutional sale and something that is referred to as an investment contract. The judge came to the conclusion that the sale of the investment contract was an unregistered security sale, notwithstanding the fact that the contract might be considered a security transaction. Currently, we are in the last stages of the marathon that we have been running. The fact that he is going back to the entire contract is something that should be brought to your attention. There must be a contract that was a part of Ripple's legal case, and as a result, he is restating their position on it here, only for the sake of the public, which is intriguing because he makes sure to go straight to it, I believe. The CC asks for $2 billion, and my opinion is that that will be, and surely certainly in the millions, not the billions. Not the billions. We will see resolution hopefully this summer. In addition, I believe that it is, once again, a wrong one. even come out and ask for that when there's no accusation or clearly findings of reckless behavior, fraud, or any of those things. The other settlements that they've done have been represented like maybe 1 or 2% sense of what's been involved. Therefore, in my opinion, it is nothing more than a form of posturing. Therefore, there you have it. Brad's viewpoint on what is taking place and when it will be settled can be found here. Without a doubt, it appears that the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has been engaging in posturing, and it is possible that their efforts to acquire as much money as possible have not been very successful. We shall wait and see what transpires, but rest assured that I will continue to keep you informed as usual. Let us focus our attention to the empowerment of supervision as we continue to learn more about the case, as we usually do today. Since they first started submitting Freedom of Information Act requests to get some of the history of what's happening at the SEC and to shine light on some of the conflicts of interest, hence they've once again pressed the SEC fee for additional data surrounding them. We've been talking about them for a number of years now. Through their previous filings and requests, Bill Henman, a former director of the Division of Corporation Finance at the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), and Jay Clayton, a former chair of the SEC, have both made public declarations that multiple cryptocurrencies are not securities. MP Power has already discovered and referred to the Inspector General of the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) evidence of ethical issues involving both Henman and Clayton. On the other hand, they are of the opinion that Jay Clayton most likely avoided utilizing his SEC email for his work with the SEC, and that staff members may have organized meetings or sent correspondence on his behalf. And Empower cited recent revelations that a high-level official at the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Diseases purposefully avoided disclosure of his emails under the Freedom of Information Act by using personal email and deleting correspondence. Empowers now incorporates these revelations into their new request, which includes records, communications, invites, and notes, among other things. Several members of Jay Clayton's immediate staff, in relation to a number of cryptocurrency organizations and domain names, are included below the entire letter that they have sent. I will provide a link to the letter below. Through a series of these requests to the SEC and Power, it was established that Bill Hinman, who once again was director of the Division of Corporation, was involved in this matter. I will not go through each and every item that is contained within this document. However, I do want to briefly discuss the background information because I believe that it is essential to bring everyone up to speed. During the period beginning in May 2017 and ending in December 2020, he was involved in matters in which he had a conflict of interest. More precisely, he declared in a speech that Ether was not a security after meeting with the SEC. The legal firm Us.Thankx, in which Hinman had been a partner before to joining the SEC, was one of the companies that had an interest in Crypto One. Additionally, the law firm had an interest in Ether. During the time that he was working for the SEC, he continued to receive money from the company through a series of requests. Clayton has made a public statement stating that Bitcoin is not a security, and he has also confirmed Henman's position that Ether is not a security. After Clayton's words, the value of both currencies jumped dramatically. If you recall, we got into this whole problem because at the end of Jay Clayton's stint as chairman, the Securities and Exchange Commission filed a lawsuit against Ripple, labeling it a failure.